Hello everyone, welcome to the presentation about group counseling and why this is important. So for this presentation, just reviewing our agenda, there will be an introduction, why small group counseling, data will be presented, the proposed sessions, and then just kind of like a recap and just kind of a review of information. So to get started, I am your school counselor, Casey Anderson, and welcome to my presentation. So why small groups? So at the specific location that we're at here at this high school, we have identified up here at the top that students are needing healthy support for stress management. Students are stressed out. And just pausing for a moment to think about, they have homework, they have extracurricular activities, their time management, their academics, their social groups, and their peer status. Some might be having mental health issues with like being bullied. There's image concerns. Some are taking care of siblings. Their financial worries. Some might be without a home and they're homeless. Some might be attending court. Some might have some past trauma that's occurring in their lives. Some might not even know when their next meal is going to be. So there are so many of these things that are occurring for students, and those are just some to list, but we all know that there's so much occurring with our students. So they're needing this healthy support of stress management. So with this small group, there's kind of a tiered system to it. So in our first 4-week session, we're going to identify that source of stress of like, what is exactly occurring in your life and what are you needing support with? And then we'll also talk about self-care techniques. And then through these two discussions, students, hopefully mental health will improve because they'll have healthy stress, self-care techniques that they can use when they are feeling stressed. So data shows that being in a transitional stage between childhood and adulthood, which our high school students are, right? They're no longer elementary students, but they're not fully 18 and being adults and living out in society. Adolescents have to confront with various types of stressors. So what are these stressors? Why is this occurring? And then also self-care behaviors can be learned and can be directed towards the performance of specific behaviors that can lead to the promotion of health, which we're trying to achieve. We want our students to have healthy lifestyles. And then I've also created an assessment for my specific location where students will identify their areas of stress. And so far what I have found, some common factors include students talking about their academics. They're with families that have been divorced, going through a divorce. Some parents are even being remarried. They have a stressful fam lives. Like there's a lot going on with their homes and things occurring. Some students might be grieving, and that's a big topic to discuss. And then some students might have some health concerns going on. Some might be attending court in a legal system. Some might be having some pure kind of relationships that aren't the most healthy, or some might even have some personal relationships that are unhealthy. And then student socioeconomic status is also kind of an identified stress factor in terms of like, I'm homeless. I don't know when I'm going to have clean clothes. I don't know where I'm staying tonight. I don't know if I'm going to have dinner. I don't know if I'm going to have a hot meal. Kind of those factors are included within the socioeconomic status. So for my proposal, I am proposing tiered small groups, and this will be broken up by sessions. So the first 4-week session will be about 8 to 10 students in this first tier, and then it will be broken down to 4 to 6 students in the second tier. So the first tier will discuss identifying student stress, and then the second tier will really focus on the stress factor that the student is experiencing. All right, so the first 4-week session, I'm just breaking it down a little bit more in terms of like what will be exactly discussed during each week. So the first step, students will be identified and referred to a counselor. The counselor will meet with the student and discuss the group and the purpose of the group. So why are you here? What's going on? And then also during this meeting, students will take the stress assessment, which has been composed by the counselor. And this is the assessment here. And then on this assessment, students will use a 5-point scale to rate each category. The number 5 will represent experiencing heightened levels of stress within this area, and the number 1 represents experiencing low levels of stress. Students will add up their scores in order to determine their stress levels. And then the scores will be added up. And in terms of calculating this, a score of 200 plus represents major stress levels. Scores of 150 to 199 represent serious stress. Scores of 100 to 149 represent moderate stress. Represent moderate stress. And then scores of 50 to 99 represent mild stress, and scores of 0 to 49 represent very little stress. So students in the major to serious stress categories will qualify for this group. And then after completing this pre-assessment here, students will, the counselor will review the scores and then identify the students that are experiencing major stress and who's going to be part of this first 4-week session. And then with this assessment too, it will also help for session 2, as the counselor will be able to see what specific areas the students are experiencing stress in. So identified before is this academics, parents that are getting divorced, family life, grief, health, legal system, peer relationships, and socioeconomic status. All right. And then the next week, being week 3, the group will discuss self-care techniques and what this looks like and like what might work best for the student. And then week 4 will include the goal setting for continued self-care. And then moving into the second 4-week session. So this will be the specific groups of like students being divided up by their stress levels. So students who are experiencing stress with academics, students who are experiencing stress with the legal system, students who are experiencing stress with their family life, those kind of factors. And so we'll reestablish group norms specifically for that group. We'll identify the group of like, oh, you're really stressed out with academics, etc. And then we'll also talk about the self-care techniques again of like, what is working for you? How are you managing your stress? How are you getting up every day and coming to school and being successful? What does that look like for you? And then we'll also do research together in order to provide continued support for the students. So what is accessible in our area? If you're a homeless student, have you reached out to our McKinney-Vento program? If you are a student that's needing support with academics, have you accessed our tutoring center and just seeing what is available in our area for students? All right, then evaluation criteria. Because anytime that you are going to present a group or say something, we should be able to evaluate this. Like, is it effective? Why are we doing this? So in terms of how I would evaluate my small groups, it would be a pre and a post assessment, and it would be using the same stress assessment that I assembled and showed in the previous slide. And then students' attendance and grades will also be reviewed. So this will be occurring before session 1 and then after session 1, and then it will also repeat for session 2. So we'll pull the same data in terms of the pre and post assessment and then the attendance and the grades. All right, and then to recap, so this proposal is about small groups. It will identify students who are experiencing stress, which areas the students are experiencing stress in, how can students care for themselves, and what support systems are 1, available at school, 2, within their local area, and then areas around them as well. Then any questions that you have.